The galaxy was once full of light and movement, but now many star systems were silent, drifting like graves in space. The Ellerin Union had ruled no great empire, yet their worlds were peaceful and full of life. They believed diplomacy and cooperation were enough to survive among the stars. That belief was now dying. A merciless force known as the Iron Devourers was advancing without mercy. Their fleets were not interested in talk or surrender. They arrived, destroyed defenses, took resources, and left nothing behind. Entire planets were stripped bare. Every week, another Ellerin system went dark. Inside a damaged orbital command station above the capital world, the Ellerin High Council gathered. The room was scarred from earlier attacks. Lights flickered. Screens showed maps filled with red warning signs. The leaders were exhausted. Many had not slept in days. Admiral Deskar stood before the council, his uniform torn and burned. He reported the latest losses in a steady voice, but his eyes showed defeat. 3 more fleets had been destroyed. 2 evacuation convoys were missing. Civilian casualties were beyond counting. Silence followed his report. Everyone understood the truth. The Ellerin Union was losing. Their technology was outdated. Their allies had already fallen or refused to help. No one wanted to face the Iron Devourers. Some council members spoke of surrender. Others argued for hiding their remaining worlds deep in unexplored space. These ideas brought no comfort. The Iron Devourers always found their targets. Then a young communications officer named Lyra Venn stepped forward. She was not a council member. She had lost her homeworld only months earlier. Her voice was quiet but clear. "There is one option left," she said. The room turned toward her. Some leaders already feared what she would say. "We send a rescue plea beyond known space," Lyra continued. "To the Deathworlders." The reaction was instant: fear, anger, shock. "Humans?" One counselor hissed. "They are dangerous." "They were cast out for a reason," another said. "They fight without limits." Humans were a forbidden subject in galactic politics. Long ago, they had tried to join the greater community. But their methods of war were too brutal, their survival instincts too extreme. Other races feared that humans would bring endless conflict. So humanity was pushed away and isolated. Since then, humans had vanished beyond the edges of mapped space. Some believed they destroyed themselves. Others believed they were waiting. Admiral Deskar closed his eyes. "Calling them may bring a different kind of disaster," he said. Lyra did not argue. "If we do nothing," she replied, "there will be no disaster left to fear. We will be gone." Another alert sounded. A new system was under attack. Time was running out. At last, the high speaker rose from his seat. His body was weak, but his voice carried authority. "Prepare the message," he said. "Not a demand. Not an order. A plea." The council agreed. There was no hope left to lose. The message was simple and honest. It spoke of burning worlds, broken fleets, and dying civilians. It admitted fear and failure. The final line was addressed to only one name: humanity. The signal was launched into the dark. It traveled faster than any Ellerin ship ever could, crossing empty space, slipping through forgotten relay points, carrying the weight of an entire civilization's hope. After that, all they could do was wait. Days passed with no response. The Iron Devourers moved closer to the capital. Defense platforms were destroyed. Evacuation plans failed as panic spread among civilians. Many on the council believed the plea had been ignored. Far beyond Ellerin space, in a region marked only by warning symbols on old star charts, something ancient awakened. Human deep space sensors detected the signal. Systems that had slept for decades came alive. On a massive Terran command ship drifting in silence, warning lights turned on. Crew members rushed to their stations. A message appeared on the main display. A human admiral stood before it. His hair was gray. His face was calm, carved by years of war. He read the message slowly, without expression. He remembered the old days. The rejection. The isolation. The years spent preparing for threats no one else wanted to face. Around him, officers waited. No one spoke. They all knew what this message meant. After a long moment, the admiral turned to his crew. "Send confirmation," he said. "Prepare the fleets." Deep in human space, engines powered up. Warships began to move. An answer was coming. And the Ellerin Union had no idea what kind of force they had just called from the stars. After the rescue plea was sent, the Ellerin Union waited. Hope was thin, fear was heavy. The Iron Devourers did not slow down. Their fleets moved closer to the Ellerin core worlds. Each day brought new losses. Evacuation ships filled the space lanes. Families were separated. Cities emptied inside the orbital command station. Council members watched the stars with tired eyes. Many believed the plea had been a mistake. Some said the Deathworlders would never answer. Others feared that humans would arrive as conquerors. No one truly knew. Admiral Theskar stood by the main display. Tracking enemy movements, his hands were steady. But his thoughts were dark. "We cannot hold another major assault," he warned. "Our defenses are failing." Before anyone could respond, long-range sensors triggered a warning. Not from the Iron Devourers, but from deep space. Technicians rushed to their stations. Data streams flooded the screens. Confusion spread quickly. Space itself began to distort. Stars stretched into strange lines. As if reality was being pulled apart, at first, a single object appeared. Massive and dark, silent against the stars. Then another, then dozens more, moments later. Hundreds of shapes emerged from hyperspace. Then thousands, an entire fleet filled the void. Larger than anything the Ellerin had ever seen. Alien sensors struggled to understand what they were detecting. Power readings were beyond known limits. Weapon signatures were overwhelming. Fear swept through the command station. Some officers believed the Iron Devourers had evolved. Others thought the end had finally come. Then a signal cut through the noise, clean, controlled, and calm. "This is Terran Command. We have received your plea." The room fell into stunned silence. Humans had answered. The Deathworlder fleet held position. Their ships were dark gray, scarred and heavy, built for war. No symbols of peace were visible. No welcoming lights, only strength and control. A massive flagship moved forward. Its presence alone made smaller ships seem insignificant. A hologram formed in the council chamber, revealing a human admiral, tall, calm, and unreadable. He studied the assembled aliens carefully, not with anger, not with pride. "You are facing extermination," he said. "We have reviewed your data." The Ellerin leaders waited for conditions. For demands, for threats, none came. "We will intervene," the admiral continued. "But understand this," the room held its breath. "When humanity commits to a war, we see it through to the end." Before anyone could respond, emergency alerts blared again. The Iron Devourers had arrived. Their fleets pouring into the system, confident and aggressive. Ellerin ships panicked. Formations broke. Old habits of retreat took over. Human vessels did not move. They formed a solid wall between the enemy and the Ellerin worlds. The human admiral raised one hand slowly. Watching the enemy approach, alien commanders shouted warnings. Begging the humans to fall back, the admiral lowered his hand. "Engage," he said. Human weapons lit up space. Focused and precise, no wasted fire, Iron Devourer ships shattered under the assault. Their advance slowed, then stopped. The Elleran fleets watched in disbelief. For the first time in many cycles, the enemy was being pushed back. Human ships advanced steadily, protecting evacuation routes. Shielding damaged alien vessels, the message was clear to everyone watching. The Deathworlders had not come to rule. They had come to fight. The first battle changed everything. But the war was far from over. The Iron Devourers did not retreat in fear. They pulled back to observe, to learn. That alone worried the human commanders. This enemy was not mindless. It adapted. Human fleets spread across Elleran space with calm precision. Each movement was planned. Each position had purpose. Where Elleran defenses were shattered, humans rebuilt them. Where supply lines were broken, human escorts guarded them. The Deathworlders did not rush. They prepared. Admiral Theskar watched from the command station as human ships took positions that Elleran tacticians would never choose. Instead of defending planets directly, the humans controlled jump points, choke zones, and deep space corridors. It felt risky, almost careless, yet the results were immediate. When the Iron Devourers attacked again, they found human fleets waiting. This time the enemy came in massive numbers. Dark ships flooded into the system, blocking the light of nearby stars. Elleran captains felt the old panic rise in their chests. In past battles, this was the moment they broke formation and ran. Human ships did not retreat. They formed layered lines of defense. Heavy warships absorbed the first wave. Smaller attack craft moved like hunting animals, striking weak points and disappearing before retaliation. Human weapons adjusted constantly, changing patterns and frequencies as the enemy adapted. The Iron Devourers began to lose ships faster than they could replace them. On a frontier world called Sarin Ix, millions of Elleran civilians waited for evacuation. The planet's shields were failing. Iron Devourer landing forces were already descending. Elleran command prepared for the worst. Human drop fleets arrived first. They entered the atmosphere under heavy fire. Engines burning, hulls taking damage. Instead of retreating, they deployed massive shield generators around population centers. Human soldiers landed in disciplined lines, securing evacuation zones while under constant attack. Elleran civilians watched in disbelief as human soldiers carried the injured, defended strangers, and held positions that should have been impossible to survive. These were the same beings the galaxy once called too dangerous to trust. In orbit, the battle intensified. Several human ships were crippled. Fires spread across their hulls. Still, no retreat order was given. Repair crews worked while under fire. Damaged ships repositioned to protect others. Admiral Theskar listened to human command channels. There was no panic. Orders were short and clear. Losses were acknowledged, not ignored, but never allowed to slow the mission. Slowly, something changed across Elleran space. Refugee convoys began reaching safe zones. Worlds that were marked for destruction survived another day. The Iron Devourers were still deadly, but they were no longer unstoppable. In the council chamber, fear turned into quiet awe. The Deathworlders were not fighting like conquerors or saviors. They were fighting like survivors, like a species that understood extinction better than anyone else. Human analysts soon reached a conclusion. The Iron Devourers were controlled by a central command structure. A core intelligence somewhere beyond the front lines coordinated every assault. As long as it existed, the war would never truly end. The human admiral shared this information with the Elleran Council. His tone was calm, but the message was heavy. "There will be a final battle," he said, "and it will be costly." The room fell silent. For the first time since the war began, the Elleran understood the truth. Humanity had not come to delay their extinction. The Deathworlders had come to end the war, no matter the price. The war raged on, and the Iron Devourers became more aggressive. They had learned from earlier defeats. Each new assault was stronger, faster, more deadly. The Elleran fleet struggled to keep pace, often hiding behind human lines. Hoping the Deathworlders would save them, humans never hesitated. They moved like a living wall, protecting evacuation convoys, guarding planets, and holding fractured battle lines together. Ships were damaged, destroyed, and yet the formation held. Human crews repaired hulls mid-battle. They redistributed weapons, shared supplies with alien allies, and never asked for thanks. Elleran officers slowly realized the truth about the Deathworlders. They were not cruel nor reckless. They were forged by a harsh world, shaped by survival, endurance, and relentless challenges. Life on Earth had taught them to adapt, to fight, and to protect at all costs. Their actions on the battlefield reflected this. One crippled Elleran cruiser drifted through space, engines dead, hull breached. Void swarm ships surrounded it, preparing to destroy it. Human destroyers moved in front, taking hits meant for the aliens. Elleran engineers watched through observation windows, barely able to comprehend what they were seeing. No one gets left behind. A human captain said simply when asked why they risk everything, even their own lives. That phrase spread quickly across the Elleran fleet, becoming a silent promise. The Iron Devourers responded by launching their most powerful attack yet. A living structure, known only as the Hive Core, emerged from their deep space network. It pulsed with energy, controlling the swarm across star systems. Humans quickly analyzed it, discovering that destroying the Hive Core would end the war permanently. The plan was simple, yet terrifying. The Deathworlders would have to strike the core directly. Many ships would not return. The loss would be immense. Elleran leaders trembled at the thought. They had already begun to admire the humans, yet they could hardly comprehend the sacrifices required. Human Command discussed the mission in complete calm. There was no hesitation, no debate about retreat or failure. They accepted the cost as necessary. The Admiral gave orders to prepare for the final assault. Evacuation protocols were doubled, support teams readied, and the Armada set its course toward the Hive Core. As preparations continued, Elleran leaders witnessed humanity's resolve. Humans trained, repaired, and organized with a focus that no alien species could match. They coordinated in silence, communicating efficiently and moving with a precision that bordered on instinctive. The Elleran slowly understood what they had called upon. These were not conquerors seeking glory, not allies seeking reward. These were warriors shaped to survive in the deadliest conditions, willing to face impossible odds for the sake of others. For the first time, the High Council admitted something quietly among themselves. Humanity had come not because they wanted to intervene, but because it was in their nature to do so. Their world had taught them endurance, survival, and protection at any cost. They were not heroes by choice, they were survival incarnate. As the final assault neared, the Elleran realized that the battle would define the future of countless systems. They could only hope to survive alongside the Deathworlders. The cost of rescue would be high, but humanity had already proven that the price was acceptable to them. The fleets moved in formation, engines glowing. The Hive Core loomed ahead, dark and threatening, pulsing with deadly energy. Silence fell across the combined forces as every ship prepared for what would come next. The galaxy watched, and the Deathworlders prepared to strike, knowing some of their own would not return. Their focus was absolute. Their resolve was unbreakable. Their mission was clear: end the war, save the Elleran, and pay the price if necessary. And so, the galaxy prepared to witness the full cost of humanity's intervention. The final battle had begun. Human fleets advanced toward the hive core, every ship in formation, every pilot and crew ready for the ultimate test. The Iron Devourers responded immediately. Massive swarms of dark ships surged forward, blocking out the stars. Their energy pulses shaking the space around them, Ulleran fleets wanted to follow, to assist. But the human admiral refused. "This is our task," he said calmly. "And we will see it through," human ships charged. Engines burning, weapons firing nonstop, hull plates melted under constant attack. But the formation held, not a single ship faltered. One by one, Terran vessels fell, explosions lit up the darkness. But their purpose was clear. No one broke rank. Strike ships punched through the hive core's defenses, carving a path through energy barriers and living armor. The core pulsed violently, reacting to the assault. But the humans pressed on. The Ellerin watched from a distance, fear and awe mixing. They could not comprehend the determination, the willingness to sacrifice. Finally, a group of human ships reached the core itself, damaged, burning, barely functional, but their objective was within reach. The human admiral gave the final order: detonate. A blinding light spread across space. The hive core exploded, its energy scream echoing across nearby systems, destroying every connected swarm ship instantly. Silence followed. The Iron Devourers were gone. Their empire shattered, never to rise again across the galaxy. Ellerin worlds breathed freely for the first time in years. Ships returned to safe zones. Civilian populations began to rebuild. The Ellerin High Council gathered to send a message, not of fear, not of surrender, but of gratitude. The Deathworlders had answered their plea. They had risked everything. They had paid the ultimate price. Few human ships remained, scarred, battered, but standing. Symbols of endurance and sacrifice. Across all systems, the story spread. The Deathworlders were no longer feared, no longer only a warning of potential destruction. They were remembered as saviors, as guardians, as the beings who answered a desperate plea and carried the galaxy from the brink of extinction. A monument was built in space, simple but unbreakable. It bore only one message. When the galaxy called, humanity answered. From that day forward, every alien species would remember the truth. Humanity's power was terrifying, their courage unmatched, their loyalty absolute. And the galaxy learned that when the Deathworlders intervened, they did not act for glory or reward. They acted because it was in their nature, to survive and to ensure others survived with them. The stars would never forget the final battle, nor the cost paid by those who answered the plea. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would remember forever.